They can't arrest none of us for being together. I love it.
And that's what he said in his speech too. We are not going to be fighting. We are going to stand. We're going to stay above that crap, you know?
Absolutely. All righty, everyone. I want to welcome you to the first ever MLK 100 Health episode. I'm super excited. I'm your host, Shawnte, Health Wells with Flair, baby. Woo! Listen, I have some exciting guests. I'm going to play our show intro. I pray our technology holds up. If not, this part will actually, well, you know what? I'm going to leave it in the editing just so y'all know it's not always perfect. So I want to welcome you all to the 1Hunnid Health Show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay, I'm excited.
Okay, I guess as technology would do, it does not want to play. So we're going to keep this train going. So I want to make sure I want you guys to know who we have on the line. So I want to welcome Trellis and Jules and Trey from Trey Talks and Professor Shawn and CEO of Drippin' in Black and Miss Tylene Henry. Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. I am so happy and delighted. And now the intro wants to kick in. All right.
Miss Wells, America's health teacher.
Okay. I'm going to edit that part out. All right. So I want to introduce our first guest, Miss Jules Alpern. She is a TV film production. She has an MS in mental health with a specialization in children with diagnostic disorders and elders with dementia and Alzheimer's. And she's currently a care counselor at Life Alert Emergency Medical Response Services. She is a fun aunt and a daughter. And one of her passions is mentoring, mirroring, and empowering individuals, and especially young people, which I love that because there's a lot of young people who watch the show. Local and regional service for an anonymous group, leadership, moderation for the daily gratitude movement. Woo woo! We're also we're moderator sisters of that, and Trellis is too. Random acts of kindness, posting friendly competitions on and offline to unite, empower, and entertain individuals. She is definitely a running queen, y'all. I've seen her and heard her on her runs or walks or yoga, meditation, and creativity. And she loves to talk about love and friendship, inclusion and kindness and gratitude and solutions and spirituality and racism. And she definitely has some books that she's going to recommend to us later, as well as some causes and charities. So could you all please help me welcome Miss Jules Alpern. Woo, woo, woo. Next up, I want to introduce to you guys Miss Tylene Henry. She's an entrepreneur, powerful change agent, and staunch advocate for socioeconomic equality. Tylene has been referred to as the follow-up queen, and that I can attest to, she definitely is. As a result of practicing what she calls the 3 Ps, professionalism, patience, and persistence in developing relationships and providing access to the resources necessary to create a positive impact on the communities she serves. Tylene owns and operates Ujima Services, MBE, a strategic business planning and development consulting firm where she serves the private, public, and governmental sectors. She is also the president of the Detroit chapter of the National Association of Black Women in Construction, serves on a Michigan Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence's Women's Advisory Committee, Civic Engagement Committee, chair for the Independent Business Association, and is a volunteer facilitator with Youth for Global Health and Social Justice. Ms. Henry has a unique ability to create, leverage, and facilitate transformational leadership and developmental programs that integrate youth, building professionals, and executes into cutting-edge and results-driven collaborations. Tylene is proudly committed to social equity, and she insists that diversity, equity, and inclusion is a lifelong journey that requires the ongoing the ongoing development of meaningful relationships, measurement, and accountability for all community and organizational stakeholders. In June of 2019, Tylene founded June 19, collaboration to empower all citizens on social, environmental, political, and economic disparities and roads to equity and inclusion, providing expert panelists to address topics that directly address roads to collaboration, so collaborative solutions. Tylene is a devoted mother to her son and says her greatest accomplishment is knowing that her family can depend on her support and respectful guidance. Please welcome Miss Tylene Henry. Woo! Woo! All right. And I am going to let our following guests go ahead and introduce themselves. Miss Trellis, can you please tell our audience a little about you? And then we'll move on to Miss Trey from Trey Talks.
Hello, all. Happy, sensational, supernatural, and soared like an eagle and never stop dreaming Sunday. My name is Trellis. I am a go-getter. I'm a women's empowerment speaker. I am an author. I am a member of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, community servant, and influencer. I am a daughter of 3 beautiful girls and a Grammy to 4 Grand Princes and a Grand Princess, brand new. She still smells new, 8 months old. And so my motto is that I live by life. It does not matter what they call you. It only matters what you answer to. And the thing I have learned being a community influencer and servant, it is not the impact that I make while I am on stage and in your presence, but the impact that I made when I've left the stage. Thank you.
All right, let's give it up for Trellis. Let's see some of those hand clapping emojis floating across the Zoom, right? All right, and with that, we are going to move on to Miss Trey from Trey Talks. Please tell us a little about yourself.
Hello, everyone. This is Trey coming at you with some Trey Talk on a Sunday. I am so grateful to be here. I am an internationally known medicine woman. I am the CEO and founder of Return to Self. I am a mother of 3, a grandmother of 6, a great-grandmother of 2, and I am living my best life. How am I doing that? After I was paralyzed in a car accident and told I would never walk again without assistance, I chose not to adopt that prescription. And now not only am I thriving, but I'm helping others to heal from anything that holds them back, because I am here to help right now women who heal their wombs so that they can have confidence and clarity so that they can self-actualize their best life. This is Trey, and I am handing back this mic to you, Shawnte.
Thank you, Trey. Let's give Trey a round of applause. Woo! And last but certainly not least is my friend and brother, Mr. Professor, Mr. CEO of Drippin' in Black, Mr. Shawn Smith. Could you please tell us who you are and introduce yourself to the people?
Good afternoon. I'm Shawn Smith. In my 9 to 5, I am a professor of mathematics at a college in Michigan. And from 5 to 9, I am the CEO, EP, runner, all the other jobs that you have to do to put on a podcast, or the Drippin' in Black Productions and Drippin' in Black podcast, along with Raw Conversation podcast. It's the 2 that we've had out currently. And it's just a joy to be here to support my friend, Miss Wells.
Thank you so much. Let's give Mr. Drippin' in Black himself a round of applause. Woo, woo, woo. Thank you so much for being here. So with that being said, Miss Trey, over to you. We're going to start with.
Baby, you muted yourself.
Oh, move too fast. Look at me. I said, Miss Trey, we're going to come over to you, and then we're going to ask the same question to everyone on the panel, and I will be giving my health tip at the end. So when did you first hear about the I Have a Dream speech? About what age, and when did you hear about the I Have a Dream speech?
Definitely elementary school. I remembered thinking back, and I really remember it in 3rd grade with Mr. Contrell, my mean mean teacher, but I'll never forget that. It actually like gave me goosebumps. Like it shifted my perspective before I even knew I was an empath. I knew then that I felt it, right?
Gotcha. Thank you. I just think it's so interesting to find out where we all were when we first heard it. All right, Miss Trellis, over to you. Can you tell us where were you when you first heard about the I Have a Dream speech?
Yes, I was home, and my parents, you remember those things called albums? Yeah, albums. My dad, my mom had the album of I Have a Dream speech, and we listened to it. Myself, my mom, my dad, my sister, and my two brothers. And they have books. My mom still has the books till this day. My dad passed away, of MLK everything, with magazines, pictures, even a cover with Coretta Scott King on the cover with her veil at his funeral, and one of the children that's leaning on her lap. So that absolutely changed the lives of my sister and my brothers. And at the end of that, I can remember my parents saying, I don't care what you become, just become something that is great and that serves the community and helps someone else be great. And so it was, I think I was like 10 or 11, preteen definitely, but it did not start in the school. It started at home. So because we know that's one little page in the history books with the March on Washington, where there's so much more of the Black History movement. Henceforth, my T-shirt of Emmett Till. A lot of people, young people that I ran into or that saw my shirt, did not even know who he was. So again, it started in my home.
Thank you. I love that. So Trey heard it at the school, Trellis heard it at home, but the common theme that I noticed is that you both heard it when you were children. So I really, really love that. All right. Now over to you, Miss Tylene, follow-up queen. When did you first hear about the I Have a Dream speech?
So I was in elementary school, and it was so powerful for me because I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. And so it wasn't often that I saw Black people that weren't related to me in the day-to-day. And so being in school, and I just remember feeling like I was there. Like it was just the echoing and just the sound. And it was just like an emotional type of feeling, even as a child. You just knew that it was extremely significant. And he had so much passion in what he was sharing, and it just resonated with me like instantly. And it just felt good to, hear and see somebody who looked like me have that impact, especially as a young person, feeling like I didn't have as much of a voice. And so I remember feeling incredibly proud and just encouraged, and just wanting to continue to learn more.
Thank you. I love that. I love that a lot. All right. Over to you, Miss Jules. When did you first hear about the I Have a Dream speech?
I grew up in a very tiny town where I was the only Jew in my high school graduating class, it was like Noah's Ark in my town. I've been raised colorblind, and that speech, it was elementary school. I remember my social studies thick book. I can still smell that book. and it was reinforced every year. And it was just, but the impact of it didn't hit me until my adult years, really. And it just, especially even reviewing it recently, I see where we are now, where we've been and where we need to go. But the beauty of it was just like how Martin Luther King wanted us all, Blacks, whites, Muslims, everybody, to just sit at a table and talk and not fight physically, but talk. And to see that all those people in Washington, all races, all everything, were gathered together, like that hits me harder now than it did as a kid.
Hey, yes, I completely can understand and concur. All right, Mr. Shawn, please tell you first hear about the I Have a Dream speech.
My story is probably a lot different, and I'm probably going to tell my age when you only had one television in the house, and that was controlled by, at that time, my father. And I heard the speeches in pieces. I never really heard it in its entirety because he was a very big into news, and they will have comparisons. How does this compare to the Martin Luther King speech now? And when they had race stories and like that. So I got it in bits and pieces of it until I was grown, and then I listened to the entire thing. So it was always in that comparison and saying from this time in the 70s, this time in the 80s, this time in the 90s, and you get those little bits and pieces. And I think probably the biggest chunk maybe was in church during that time, as they would compare it and bring a real life scenario within it. So the speech in its totality, I did not listen. I did not hear when I was young, or wasn't mentioned. I still don't remember it being mentioned in school per se. But looking at the news at my father and the information that he had, looking at the ebonies and saying, how are we fulfilling his dream? And looking at those questions and those articles kind of put me into the sense of what was said in the speech.
Thank you. I actually, come to think of it, I guess mine is different from everyone's too. The first time I heard it, and it was actually in its entirety, I was in kindergarten in Mrs. Daniels' kindergarten class. She had a album, what do they call it, a record player in her room. So I am telling my age. Yes, that is what that's what she played music on. And she played the full speech for us. And I just remember it was just such a poignant moment for me, because I remember just the sound of his voice and saying to myself from that point on, I was like, man, I want to speak like that. I want to know how to do that. I immediately she never played anything that made us just be that quiet and we were that locked in. There was just something about it and hearing it. And then for me, as I got older, and once I started to teach Black history myself in my church and everything, and when I found out the speech was originally crafted for kids, and it wasn't, even though we celebrated in August, he actually delivered it in a middle school, a junior high school. I didn't go to middle school. We had junior high school when I was coming up. And so it was delivered in North Carolina at a junior high school there to those kids. He had no intention of actually speaking it when he spoke it in August, which is when we celebrated at the March on Washington. It was his friend, Mahalia Jackson, who kept egging him on because she was with him when he delivered, and she knew that he had that dream speech. And he was like, tell him about the dream. Because I think a lot of people forget how adults were treating him. Everybody wasn't receiving him. Definitely. I don't think he thought, based on what people who were with him at that time, he didn't think adults would take to the dream speech. That's why it was crafted originally to kids, because he knew that they were young and malleable enough to be amenable to that type of change coming forth. So it just really blew me away. And I'm so happy that it sounds like all of us were at least exposed to it. Those of you who are here for the live recording, I would love you to type in the chat if you heard about the dream speech when you were a kid as well. With that, I want to move on to the next question, and I'll bring that right back to you, Professor Shawn. What's the importance of dreaming overall? Because, we know of him about dreams, but is dreaming in essence?
Dreaming could be a part of your destiny. Dreaming can be a part of your calling, where you are on that spiritual level. Because that's where it starts. It's that thing that you are aiming to be, or to be like, or to want to do. And dreaming is very important. And, as an educator, the creativity and things like that, the school system kind of kills it around second and third grade. And we stop dreaming, we work on skills, and kids start losing that creativity, and that creativity is very important in the education thing, because as an educator, if I'm having that personal relationship with you, those are the things I'm going to get you to get. Nobody want to do no math, but if I know that if your dream or your skills or what you want to do, I'm going to put in there, hey, this is where math play a role at, and this is, or the thinking of how we even look at solving a problem, because some of the stuff is critical thinking skills and things like that. You want that to have that, and you want to have that creativity, because that's a part of them. And as an educator, you want to tap into that, because that's going to be their motivation. So dreaming is definitely big, and we need to listen to I heard you talking about your grandbabies and stuff like that. Listening to you, because they're going to give you a way of supporting where they're going. So listen to the kids. They'll point you in the way in which they should go. And we might play it off as they just being little kids. No, it's something to it. You just got to dive into it and see what it is.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Me being a fellow educator, that's super important to me. And I see exactly what Shawn is talking about. It definitely is killed in the school system. I can tell you guys this, like, for real, for real. All right, Jules, same question to you. What's the importance of dreaming overall?
I feel like without a dream, there's nowhere to go. Like, what's the reason for getting out of bed every day? I've had some big dreams that didn't turn out the way that I wished, but you guys are bringing me back to Mrs. Toby in 4th grade, where she had a whole stack, we had like a library of books, and she allowed me to fashion my own books, to start writing, I was cartooning at the time, and she encouraged me to do that. And she'd laminate the books, and then other kids could look at them. And I used that later in life, writing for newspapers. And kids do lose that today, and I know that from also working with kids. And once I have a dream and it's somewhere up here, then I can start using visualization, using my meditation and manifesting. I do this every morning. Is really like, I put something out to the universe, and I'll say it in front of hundreds of people and in front of my boss. I'm going to help this many people today by this time, and then this many by this time. I'm putting it out there, and I'm going to manifest it. How am I going to do it? I got to have a plan. So I create a plan around that. There's nowhere to go if I don't have something out there to the universe.
Yes, I love it. See, I'm having a hard time with these emojis. I was trying to put a heart in.
I see it. I see you.
Love that, Jules. All right. I love what you just said. Yeah. And I love that you pointed out that it's not something that you just stop in your adolescence years or your youth years, that it's something that you can continue throughout life. And I can't wait to hear. I'm going to close that question out with Miss Trey, our dream specialist for sure over here. So Tylene, same question to you. What's the importance of dreaming?
When I think about dreaming, I just think about how I know one of the very important parts for me with dreams is that I feel that the Lord brings things to me in my dreams. And so oftentimes I say that people think socioeconomic disparity is just a lack of money, but I see it as a lack of, equitable access to ideas, resources, and relationships, right? And if you don't have exposure to ideas, usually the less money we have, the shorter distance we travel from our home and our community. And so, dreaming is so incredibly important, because you have to, one, be able to acknowledge the dreams that you have, right? And then as well, what Shawn and Jules said that's so important is being able to put some action behind that dream, to apply that dream to the things that are important to you in your life, or whatever your calling may be. And so I definitely think that young people have to be encouraged to continue to dream, to be creative, to make believe, because that's how we get to the solutions. We can talk about problems all day long, but we really have to think outside of the box. And who says it's not possible. No one would have thought, 20 years ago that we'd be 3D printing homes and cars, right? No one would have thought, 50 or 100 years ago that we'd be flying, right? But someone had to have a dream, and behind that dream had to be some action, right? And so dreaming is, I think it's essential to us being able to thrive, as a civilization, because we have to see beyond what is in our physical presence and really think outside and allow that creativity to come to life. And so I always try to remember my dreams. Like sometimes I'll wake up and I'll have a dream and I have to tell somebody about it right away, or I have to write it down right away because I don't want to forget it. And then sometimes I don't know what it means right then, but something happens over the next few days or the next couple of weeks where it comes together for me. So I think dreaming is just, is essential for us to be able to continue to move forward and to have hope, in a lot of cases, to know that just because there may not be a solution right now doesn't mean that we can't create one.
Yes, ma'am. I'm ready to take up an offering right now off of that one. Listen, yes. I love what you said. Because of the solutions. And, I used to often hear about dreaming in my environment, looked down upon as if it was a negative, like it meant that you weren't going to do anything. So I'm so happy that the three of you mentioned it, with solutions and with the fact that, there's action involved, but also that it's not a bad thing. It's not something kids got to be ashamed of or adults have to be ashamed of. So thank you for that. Over to you, Miss Trellis, the same question. And I know you had to manifest some dreams becoming a nurse, especially born at a time that we were born at. So I am definitely want to hear what your response is to dreaming overall.
Absolutely. So I heard one of my favorite songs that I listen to every day when Jules was talking about Manifest is Manifest by Jonathan Nelson. And the first line of that song is so powerful. It says, pregnant with possibilities. And so knowing that nothing is impossible with God, I truly believe that if you believe it, you can see it. And like I said yesterday, you have to see it before you see it, not looking with your natural eyes, but your spiritual eyes. Because when God plants that vision, he talks to us in visions and dreams, and we hear his still small voice. You better believe when he gives you something, it is going nowhere. He equips you. He graces you for whatever he has birthed you to be, because he created us with intention. Nothing that he does is without intention. And so when he brings you to that, he equips you with that, and all the things that he has given you, it doesn't, even in your mistakes, because I believe if you shoot for the moon, even if you miss the moon, you land among the stars. So you don't have to worry about missing the mark, even in your mistakes. That does not cancel God's plan for your life and all that he's created you to be, because he's created us exactly what he designed us to be. And so I strive for every day of my life to be all he created me to be. And when I listen to my grandprinces, one of them said, I want to be a scientist, I want to be a police officer, I want to be a teacher, all these things in one. And there is no limit to what you can do. I heard one of my mentees say, don't confuse progress with movement, because we have the tools, the resources available when they weren't available to us. We could get killed for learning how to read. And so I believe that when you are dreaming and when you just sit back and tap into what's God's plan for you, you tap into your power, you tap into his purpose, and he allows you to not just not one dream, but once you are equipped to meet that dream and you succeeded in meeting those dreams and goals, here comes something bigger, here comes something bigger, here comes something bigger. And like Pastor Mike says all the time, it's going to be big. When you step into the dreams and the visions that God has placed in your heart, in your spirit, you are tapping into dreams that you didn't know, why you, but why not you? Why not you? because God brought you to it. He's going to get you through it, and he's going to make sure that those dreams and visions that he implanted inside your soul and spirit are fulfilled.
Thank you so much, Miss Trellis. Yes. Yes. I mean, when you said that about the reading part, it really brought me to the fact that I know I'm living out my grandparents' dreams. I know that for a fact. Like, they wanted every single one of their grandkids to be able to read as well as finish high school. And we all did that. We did that knowing like we did that for them. Like, they were very much so involved in our upbringing. And I'm just so happy that I was able to fulfill my grandmother and my grandfather's dream, being sharecroppers from Georgia, from rural South Georgia. I'm so excited that we do not have to stop dreaming. So with that, Miss Trey, come on with it. I know you know that there's some importance to dreaming. So tell us, what is dreaming? What is dreaming overall? Like, how is that important?
So for me, I'm that energy worker, I'm that energy master. And I believe that spiritual body, our connection to source, our soul gets these intuitive flashes. That's what I call them, intuitive flashes. And then they hit you. And then that is your dream. And whether or not you believe it, give it energy, will determine whether or not it will manifest, whether or not it will create, because on a quantum physics level, it will not happen if you can't feel it with the energy, with the belief, with the visualization, right? So this is why it's so critical to do the vision boards, to write it down, to pray about it, to give thanks for it. But then most importantly, as those pieces of your dream start to come, to allow for the shift and the differences from your picture, from your mind's eye into creator sources, really beautiful picture, because we're limited in our visualizations and our beliefs. So when you just go, oh, okay, oh, he wants bigger and better for me. Oh, okay, yes. So feel it, feel it, feel it, and it will come. It's your dream. Nobody else got it, just you, in that specific, beautiful, unique way that God gives it to us, right? That's my perception on dreams and why it's so important. And it's why it's so important to believe in it and forget about all the doubt that we've been fed and that you can't and whatever, because you wouldn't have gotten that intuitive flash if it wasn't for you, really.
Hey, man. So I think we got a general consensus that it's important for us to dream and keep dreaming, and let our kids and grandkids and students and whatever young people we come across to keep dreaming. All right, Miss Trey, I'm coming back to you. Now, is there a dream that you struggled to manifest or that didn't come true for you? Because I think sometimes people feel afraid or lost, or like it's only them. I know I've had dreams that didn't necessarily come true or that didn't manifest. I think some people really think, at least in what I see in the school systems and what I'm seeing that's put out on social media, I think that there are people that think that it was a cakewalk, like that there is no such thing, like you didn't have troubles or a struggle for something to come to pass. So could you tell us if you had a dream that was not necessarily easy?
OMG. Almost so many. Okay, so I don't know if any of you guys know about empaths, but empaths perceive other people's. My body just feels like it's important to feel other people's feelings and think of and feel their thoughts and all this stuff, right? So when I was moving forward and going into life, I didn't understand that say Shawnte was so excited about magnesium, and so she gets around me and then, oh my God, I'm excited about magnesium. And then Shawnte's cologne would wear off and I'd be like, I'm not so excited about magnesium anymore. So what I did was, throughout life, I kept doing these things. I traded stocks, I did this, I did that, I bought places, I studied real estate, because I would go into these places where people's excitement would stimulate my energy senses. And then I had to try it. And guess what? It was not my path. It was not me. So of course, I kept failing, finding alignment in life. I kept finding alignment in life. So yes, I was so glad to realize I'm an empath. So then that helped me to detach from other people's energy and go, wait, is this even you? Are you excited about it? Before I just started thinking I was. So yes, thank you for that question. Yes, I have found alignment countless times, over and over and over.
Me too. That's for sure. All right, Miss Tylene, over to you. Is there a dream that you struggled to manifest in the past or that didn't come true necessarily for you?
I think absolutely. And I think it has to do with like the interpretation of dreams, right? So, I always believe that God had a purpose and a plan for each and every one of us that's unique. And he's equipping us with the skills and the awareness and discernment to be able to fulfill, that mission that he has for us. And I always, once I was going into college, I knew I wanted to be in human resources, but I wasn't interested in the systems. I wasn't really interested in FMLA and all that kind of stuff, but it was really the human resource, the individuals. And I wasn't really sure how to put it all together. So I studied business, I got an MBA, and I was doing these different things, but I really love serving in the community. But you don't get paid to serve in the community. So I'm like, how do I make what I know that I'm supposed to be here to do? Like, how do I make a career out of that? How do I make the impacts? And, I just continued to pray. And it was like slowly but surely, all of the things that I had done in service, that the work that I had done for free, people began to come to me and say, well, why aren't you charging for this? Can you help us with this? We'll pay you. And so, I would say that was the dream, is just really wanting to go into human resources. And when I got hired out of college, I went into the insurance industry and I was like, well, when I get into Progressive, I'm going to get into HR some kind of way and I'm going to make it happen, because I did love the training and development component. But that wasn't what God had for me. And wouldn't say I gave up, but I'm like, okay, well, but then, once I began to get greater clarity and understand that all of these experiences, the different jobs that I had, the different educational experience, it came together for me to be able to fulfill my mission and my purpose, and that's in alleviating socioeconomic disparity. And that comes from being able to build relationships with people and help to encourage and inspire people, helping people to see the talents and the skills and the ability that only God gave them. Because so many people think that if you're not the president of this, or you're not this title, or you don't have this degree or that degree, that means that they don't have something very valuable, unique, and necessary in order for us to move forward. And so, that is my dream that was deferred, but definitely came true for me, because I'm living in my purpose. And I can see how all of these experiences that sometimes seem like, oh, I tried this, it didn't work. I did this, it doesn't make money. All of those things came together to help me to be able to fulfill, the will that God has on my life and fulfill my mission and vision. So that was my dream, and it's my reality now. And I thank God for it.
Amen. I love that. So I always call the challenge section the meeting your Waterloo. If the sound was playing, I would have actually played our little sound effect to it. So thank you so much for that. And I hope that people are drawing away from this, that, listen, we all have Waterloo moments. There are times where we got to be redirected. And just because, a specific dream doesn't happen in a specific way that you may have had, it doesn't mean that all dreams are just going to be like not going to happen. And I think, I just really want people to hear all the different examples of how this has shown up for people. So Jules, over to you. I want to know the answer to that question. Is there a dream that you struggled to manifest?
The dream that I haven't fulfilled yet is taking Kelly Ripa's job. I always wanted to interview. You got to put in a yet there, kids. Because I always, I even interned downstairs from her for Joan London, and I kept faxing my resume like 5 days a week. I'd send it over there. Nothing. But you know what? And that's a yet. I wanted to interview people like artists and authors and creators, and just make them shine, but then when I ended up leaving all of that after yada, 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 I ended up coming to Florida, getting my master's in mental health, And I say it takes one to know one. And, you know, my first job was as a camp counselor in a Jewish day camp. And I was the number one counselor, and I'd go places and kids would be like, Miss Jules, you know, hey, you know, and I realized that, like, there's something, you know, like we're saying here, there was something God intended me to do one-on-one, to be famous one-on-one, not to be, but to make these people shine, you know. And now today, due to all the service, due to what I do now for Life Alert, I make these lifelong relationships with older people that may have been estranged from their own families, or maybe their families aren't around anymore, or their friends. And I make friends with them, and they're my family. And I empower for service work. I empower other people to realize their potential. And man, that feels so fulfilling. I don't know if Kelly Ripa's job would feel as fulfilling for me. I don't know, but that's a yet. And there's still more yets, you guys. I feel like I've had like 9 lives in terms of the different dreams, and I'm inspired even by this podcast, listening to my fellow panelists, you know, that there'll be many more dreams that I got a lot of ways to go, knock on wood, you know, so.
I love it. Thank you for sharing. All right, Mr. Shawn, can you tell us, is there a dream that didn't necessarily come true, or that, you know, you struggled to manifest?
Oh, there's plenty of those. But the Tylene kind of said it. It was a path. And it was interesting when she was saying that. I was thinking about this professional development that I am creating now, called the Golden Thread. And all these experiences that you have, which probably started with dreams, especially when you talk about as little kids, builds to this bigger thing. Like the one lady just talked about, you know, yeah, Kelly Ripa was a thing that was something to shoot at, but was that important enough? You know, was that important as what she's doing now? And if you look at Dripping in Black, the trailer episode, I'll talk about where it came from. And I ain't gonna take the story, take that story, to tell that story. But what it reminded me of, it was these dreams that I had. And from those dreams that I had, and I might not become a professional baseball player or a professional musician. However, that played a big role in what I did, because what do baseball and sports and music had together? In my life, it was math. And there's a story behind all that and where the math came in. I learned how to divide, not because we was doing it in school. It was because I needed to know how to do a batting average. I said, my father, like I said, watching my father, we watching TV, watching baseball. I said, what that number mean? He said, that's a batting average. What's a batting average? So we talking about that. Oh, so after I came home from T-ball and stuff like this, now this is 5 or 6 years old. I'm 1 for 3. I got to do this. Got a decimal point. He told me what a decimal point was. So I was doing this stuff before then. Music, fractions. That's where I learned fractions. I didn't learn fractions the way I just did it with music, because I knew what the music was. So those dreams, although they didn't give me that position per se, they aided into what I initially become. Because trust me, teaching was not a dream. It was not a dream. However, it became one as I saw and got the enjoyment of what a teacher actually do. So what they impact. So that's where I come. I'm gonna shut up. So that's where it came in for me, because it wasn't just that particular dream per se. It was the culmination of those, what I learned from those, and then how did it get me to the next spot.
Thank you. I love that. That definitely tickled me too, hearing about the batting average. You know, God has a funny way, I truly believe. Like, he has a sense of humor in how you end up into doing what it is that you really, I feel, ultimately are called to do. So Miss Trellis, I want you to close us out with the answer to that question. Is there a dream that you struggled to manifest, or one that didn't come through? Yeah, Zoom has been a little trippy. I know I can tell you guys the one that I'm working on right now. That one definitely was a struggle, which is launching my, a virtual health school in my grandmother's name. Learning the online space has been a challenge for me. Trying to figure out all the nuances and the social media stuff and all of that. But it's something that I know that I'm operating within my gift, and it will come to pass. And even it's like one of those slow cooked meals. That's the way I see it. Those are some of the best meals that you ever want to have. So Trellis, thank you. I see you came back. I know Zoom can do that to you sometimes. So that same question to you for the closeout on that. Is there a dream that didn't come true, or that you struggled, or that was a challenge to manifest?
I think it was, yes, the struggle. For me, my dream did come true to become a nurse, and I am on my way to becoming a nurse practitioner. So, but the struggle was in high school, of course, got derailed, and had my first daughter that now has her master's in educational leadership. She's a phenomenal teacher, and two other daughters that knew at the age of 9, I think I shared this with you, what they would become. And so my uncle prophesied, like when I was preteen, oh, you're going to be a doctor or a nurse. But I just thought it was the gin and juice talking. And I'm like, no, that's not what I see. That's not what I see. Lo and behold, he spoke that, and the determined, I went to the greatest HBCU, the Bethune-Cookman University. I got distracted, got pregnant, could not finish nursing school there, but I did finish nursing school, came to Tampa and finished nursing school, got into college. So I think when I realized that the dream that my uncle saw for me, it might have been delayed, but it was not denied. And the things that I stepped into, and becoming a leader, a supervisor in clinical case management, and supervising 25 other nurses, it was something that I knew was destined for me, with all the other dreams that I have, and I shared them with you, rubbing elbows and being a household name, the Essence Fest with Tabitha Brown and all those great women. That my assignment, I know, is to empower women and to help them step into their kingdom identities. And at one of the most difficult times in speak to me, just as clearly as I'm speaking to you, that his heart is full of me and he wants my heart full of him. And he spoke that to me, my life changed, and I knew everything that he had put me, my spirit, into my heart, and he's positioned me for greatness. I know that the dream, again, but it is not denied as to where he is taking me.
Hey man, I love it. So, in that vein, just so that we can pick up on that, because you said something that I think is going to be so critical for this next question. So, and that is thinking about speaking to 12-year-old you, or a 12-year-old kid, because typically I have a lot of middle schoolers who watch this. Many of them belong to a club I used to sponsor. So I want all of you guys to just travel back, think about 12-year-old you and the mentality of a 12-year-old. And what would you say in 30 seconds or less? What would you say to 12-year-old you about reimagining dreams? Trellis. I think Trellis is frozen. All right, over to you, Miss Tylene. What would you say to 12-year-old you in 30 seconds or less about reimagining dreams?
Trust God.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, Miss Jules, what would you say to 12-year-old you or 12-year-old about reimagining dreams?
Listen, kid, whatever you think it's going to look like, it ain't. But don't worry, because he has a plan. Boom.
Love it. Love it. Trellis. over to you. 30 seconds or less. 12-year-old you or 12-year-old. What would you say about reimagining dreams?
Tell you who you are, know who you are, have fearless faith in God, trust his timing, trust his purpose plan for your life, because you are a child of the kingdom and to have he placed into kingdom results.
Right. I think it was breaking up a little bit. I'm not sure if it broke up on anyone else's end really quick. I'm sad that we missed part of what you were saying, Trellis.
Oh,
Trey,
no.
Yeah, it cut out on you, but we at least got a piece of it. Trey, over to you. 30 seconds or less. What would you say to 12-year-old you or a 12-year-old about reimagining dreams?
That you'll feel feelings of failure, and it's okay. Cry the tears, let it go, and keep going anyway.
Woo! Boom shakalaka. Getting ready for my next segment. All right, Shawn, over to you. Same question.
The pieces don't look like they fit right now, but keep going. They will.
I love that. All right, this takes me to one of my favorite segments, which is Boom Shakalaka. I like to always lighten the mood when I can. So listen, I wish I could play my tag team, my Boom Shakalaka, Shakalaka, Shakalaka. I said Boom Shakalaka, Shakalaka, Shakalaka. All right.
Hey.
So this is our moment to give a health shout out to somebody. I don't care their age, we're giving a health shout out. And so I'm going to start it off. I'm giving a health shout out. I want to boom shakalaka my granddaughter. When I tell you she is committed to that broccoli and she is committed to drinking that green tea with her Gigi. So I am giving it to you, Miss Ami. Boom shakalaka. All right, Jules, over to you. Who would you like to give a boom shakalaka to?
It usually would be my dad, but I'm giving it to my friend Diane, who came here tonight. She is getting healthy. She is working on herself, and I want her to keep it up. Boom.
Boom. Shakalaka. I love it. Trellis, over to you. Who'd you like to give a boom shakalaka to?
Yes, I want to give a boom shakalaka and a shakalaka boom to my 3 daughters, Ashley, Erica, and Alyssa, who are soaring like eagles and have not let go of their faith.
I love it. Over to you, Tylene. Who would you like to give a boom shakalaka to?
I want to give a boom shakalaka to my mama, McLevine Schultz. She was diagnosed with MS, I think in 2005, and it's been a steady grind, but she's been getting up every day, putting that Michael Jackson on and getting her steps in the living room. And I'm just so proud of her and her resilience and just her, her commitment to continuing to make progress and strides in her health.
Oh, I love it. All right, over to you, Miss Trey. Who would you like to give a boom shakalaka to?
I want to actually give a boom shakalaka to my son. He's already almost 40, and he has recently decided to stop drinking because he realized he was killing himself. Yeah, boom shakalaka.
Yes, I'm loving it. Boom shakalaka. Hey, we got to give some little confetti on that one. Yes, I love it. All right, Shawn, last but not least, who'd you like to give a boom shakalaka to?
Mine will go out to the DIBK alum, Latasha. I just forgot her last name. Allen. Latasha Allen. She was on this weight loss journey, and I saw that she posted on Facebook, looking good as usual, but 20 pounds lighter. So, shout out to Latasha Allen, our DIBK alum, Dripping in Black alum.
Woohoo! Boom shakalaka to everybody y'all saluted. I just think it's such an important thing, and it definitely lightens the mood. All right, so we're into our final segment, which is our health fantasy segment. Well, we already answered a question from it, but I like you guys to end this final question. I want you to also leave us with some book recommendations, but I want you to tell us of a dream that you've already manifested, maybe in your or less, and then tell us some books. Sorry, Jules, if you can kick us off.
I'm going to say a couple years ago, a friend of mine during our Jewish New Year asked the same question. I said, a year from now, I'm going to help 100 people. And since I've helped about 600 to 700 lives saved, not lives saved by the Life Alert system. So it's not enough for me. It's got to go higher. So stay tuned.
I love that. All right, over to you, Shawn. Same question.
Book, I would say, well, I got to put two of them because they kind of go together. The 4 Agreements and the 5th Agreement is my book on my heart. And Dream Fulfilled is, out of the drip of the black attitude, Math Noir, which is a program I developed for underrepresented students in math and science. There was a point in time when I was sitting back and I saw another student helping another student, and I said, that's what it's supposed to look like. That is what it's supposed to look like. So I know I'm on the right track, because that glimpse in time, and they didn't know it, I was just sitting there grading papers. Glimpse of time said, that's because I wasn't doing anything, they were doing it, and that's what I wanted to see.
Oh, I love that. Love. You and Jules manifested dream. And I love that book recommendation. Same question over to you, Miss Trey. And Jules, I'll come back to you. Yeah, Jules, I'll come back to you for your book recommendations for sure. Because I'll be dropping mine in too. Miss Trey, over to you. Could you please tell us the answer to that question and leave us a few book recommendations?
Okay, the book recommendation will be, I think I'm going to stick with today, Eckhart Tolle, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose, because that's what we're doing, right? We're awakening to our dreams, right? And what was the question again? Now I forgot because I'm listening.
A dream that you've manifested.
Oh, you know what? Honestly, being a motivational speaker, teaching, talking about my paralysis and how I learned to walk again, even though they told me I wasn't going to walk again. I love it.
Yes. Okay, I need to give you my boom shakalaka too. Yes. They told you wasn't going to walk and you're walking. I love it. Miss Tylene, over to you. Same question. What's a dream that you manifested? And give us any book recommendation.
So a dream, this was a recreational dream, was to start a golf league. And so I started a women's golf league, and it's very diverse. We've got different ages, industries, socioeconomic backgrounds, ethnicities, and it was wildly successful. And so just definitely very proud of making that dream become a reality. And then the books, I have 2 I have to say. So Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That desire, that passion, that organized planning and putting it into action, being conscious and aware of our thoughts and having that positive mental attitude. I think that book is so powerful, and I just continue to read it over and over again, always finding a new aha moment. And then the second book would be Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. I just started that, I think last week, and it's got some principles from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, but it's really just about getting away from procrastinating and making sure that we take care of those big items on our to-do list, the ones that really have the most impact, because sometimes we feel good about checking off those little things, but we're leaving those larger things that will truly help us to get towards where we're going and feel that sense of accomplishment that we need. And so Think and Grow Rich by Brian Tracy, definitely an awesome book.
Thank you so much. And I hope all of you guys will drop those book titles into the chat so that way others can get those titles. And then Miss Trellis, please tell us of a dream that you made come true, and then any book recommendations.
Yes, I have a few. One of them was to become a ministry leader in my church and my community, and I have for 2 years now. Becoming a member of and a board member of the National 100 Coalition of Black Women. I am a member, and the next dream to become another member of a sisterhood. That process starts in October, so I'm super excited about that. And the book recommendations would be two by T.D. Jakes, Soar and Maximize the Moment, and Becoming and Miracle Morning is what I'm reading now. So that has been life-changing, and it tells you to not only create, because we are world creators, we create our world with our words, but to have the level 10 life that you want, have it followed by corresponding action. And again, you have to see it before you see it.
I love it, love it, love it. Jules, over to you. Any book recommendations for us? You're on mute, Jules.
Sorry about that. I was writing them in the chat. Chase Your Passions by Spencer Jones. My favorite meditation teacher, You Are a Badass by Jen Spicaro, I believe it is. I wrote it in the chat. Great about manifestation and how to do that. And I'm reading one right now called Carry On Warrior by Glennon Doyle Milton. Pretty empowering, pretty inspiring.
I love it. So since Trey, Shawn, and Trellis, and Tylene took a lot of the ones that I actually listed that I was gonna share, so I'll share a couple, two others that were on my list. It's a book by Khalil Gibran called The Prophet. Super, super powerful book. It's a quick read. It's a small book, but I highly recommend that book, as well as Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Oh my gosh, that probably, as far as like business and working with people and professionalism, that has been the biggest game changer outside of Think and Grow Rich for me. And the Bishop Jakes and Eckhart Tolle and the Four Agreements. Oh wow, I'm telling you, every year I do that book with my students. So I love, 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 and I hope that everyone put theirs in there. And so it brings me to my final questions. Final question to you guys is causes. I like to know like what people are, causes that are important, and then people who watch the replays, or those who are maybe in the audience right now, may be interested in something that you mentioned. So I'd like each of you to go around and tell us of a charity or a cause that you care about, or that's important to you, that you'd like to mention. I'll start with you, Jules.
Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, always given to them. Salvation Army, been raised out of the womb to give to Salvation Army. I belong to a very hippy dippy synagogue. It's all inclusive, everything. People that aren't even Jew, every color, everything. And I do give to them because they do a lot for other countries as well, and feeding the homeless, you name it. Those are just a few.
Oh, thank you so much, Jules. I love that. Over to you, Miss Trellis. Is there a cause or anything that you care about, or community service initiative, anything like that? Is Trellis frozen on your screen as well? Trellis, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Okay,
I can.
There you are.
Can you hear me? Yeah. I share every year for the past at Metropolitan Ministries in the toy drive and Thanksgiving drive. I just took the training with Metropolitan Ministries to be a servant leader on teams for Christmas and Thanksgiving. I was a cheerleading sponsor for 25 Boys and Girls Club, and those daughters and sons that I have raised are still in college today. And the part of the organization I am of already, the National 100 Coalition of Black Women, we specifically empower young girls and young women to know their worth and their tax. So those are three of my main organizations that I absolutely love and serve in.
Oh, thank you so much. And I hope that you guys really heard or go and replay some of the ones that were mentioned. Over to you, Miss Trey. Is there a charity or a cause that you care about that you'd like to mention?
Definitely. Okay, so Native Americans. So I am always going into the natives because the natives are so without any resources, and they already had it. We've already had everything taken from us. So so I am always down on the reservations. I'm constantly taking supplies, and during COVID, thousands of dollars I recruited to go and provide them with the things that they need. So I love supporting the natives, and of course the homeless and all the things that I do locally, and kids, because teens are my passion. I was a teen mom, teen parent, teen dropper out of school. So that's my heart, because there's not a place for enough resources for them too. So that's those are my passions.
Oh, love that. Love that. Over to you, Shawn. Is there a cause that you care about or a charity that?
Funny that you mentioned that, because the Dripping in Black Productions, we are doing for the month of October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We are doing a fundraiser, a fund drive where we're going to give some money. We still debating on how much money it will be, on T-shirt sales of the Dripping in Black in pink. So we are working on that. So it will be out in middle of September. In the month of October, the money is going to a breast cancer company, or whatever. Yeah, company. We still working on where it's going. So yes, we're working on that. So it'll be Dripping in Black and Pink. So check out DIBK Drip Shop during that time and get your pink Dripping in Black gear.
Absolutely. You can count me in on that one. I love that. And then that's in my birth month too. Whoop, whoop. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. And last but not least, Miss Tylene, could you tell us if there's a charity or a cause that you care about? Tylene? I think you're still muted. All right, I'll share mine in the meantime. Books in the Hood. That will forever be my thing, is Books in the Hood. That is a cause and an initiative that I came up with me and my students. And so every single December, so I hope that if you guys have books that you can donate, gently used ones or even new ones that you'd like to donate for school-aged kids. And we also get quite a few seniors. So we will be collecting this fall. We will do the distribution on December the 15th. So Books in the Hood initiative is the initiative that I care about. And I will have that live by Labor Day. The site will be live for people who want to just donate, or if you want to ship us some books from Amazon or Dollar Tree or wherever you find books. So, but thank you guys so much for that. So I don't want to hold my guests any longer. Do you guys have any closing thoughts? Because I am going to give my health tip. But I don't want to, hold you guys any longer, because I promised to keep this to less than an hour. But I definitely have to close with my 100 health tip. So before I do that, are there any closing thoughts that any of you guys, have, or that you want to say? Are there any questions from the? It's open to anyone. Any final thoughts that you want to share?
Thank you for having me here and letting me support, Jules and Trell and Shawn and everybody that's on this panel. It was really, really great. I heard everything, and hopefully I'll be on a podcast with you one day.
I like that, Dale. Thank you. And I hope you stick around for my quick health tip because it's going to be life-changing. It's about sleep and some sleep resolutions. So it'll be less than 5 minutes, I can tell you that. So Jules, Shawn, Trey, or Trellis, or Tylene, do you have any closing thoughts before I start the health segment?
Absolutely.
Ahead,
Never stop dreaming, never stop learning, never stop growing. And listen, you are not what others tell you. What's most important is what you tell yourself. And I mute my mic.
Aw, thank you so much, Trellis. Over to you, Jules.
Want to thank my friends who came here for this and all the people that are going to watch this, but I mostly want to thank the panelists and you, Shawnte. You guys are amazing. I'm inspired just being here with you. It is an honor, and it is an honor in honor of one of the greatest speeches ever made.
Thank you. I concur. Trey or Shawn, any closing words?
I just want to say really quickly, I am so grateful for this time in this space. And you guys never stop loving yourself. Grow in love and self-awareness all day, every day. Get excited about it because that is your key to living your best life. Thanks, Shawnte.
Thank you. All right. Tylene or Shawn?
I'll just say Dripping in Black is starting its 3rd season up in September. Subscribe, like, comment, have a conversation, and all the other things that we'll be doing. drippinginblack.com is the easiest way to get to us. You can get to everything from there. Social media, everything else. And it will also be, again, like I said, our breast cancer awareness fundraiser t-shirt drive will be on those things as well. Thank you for having me.
It's been my pleasure. And so for those of you, if you're interested in contacting them, I put all their links that are on my website. I will also personally put all of their links inside of our show notes when this episode airs. So you'll be able to directly connect with them, follow them on social media. And then when I close out this little segment, those who are here, I'll let you guys tell people also how they can find you. So really quick, since we're talking about dreams, I want you to dream better physically. So this is your 100 health tip. And this is one of something I discovered when I was working on Les Brown. This isn't something I arrived to. This was one of my high profile clients that actually turned me on to this. And it's called PZZZ. The letter P, ZIZZZ. So if you're someone, let's say maybe your environment is not as quiet as it was, or maybe, once you over 40, sleep interruptions tend to happen just on a hormonal basis a lot more frequently than it did when you were younger. That's just a biological fact. And, it's just something that you may have to deal with. So PZZZ, the beauty about them is they started out with machines, but you can get the app and you can download and you can get that, put it on a device. It absolutely works. So if you're looking for something to help improve your quality of sleep, I'm about solutions and helping you dream better. And PZZZ is the bomb. I'm telling you, you're talking about Olympians use this. I can tell you for a fact, there are NBA stars. High profile people who need to get quality sleep, even when it's short segments of sleep. I promise you, they're on to this PZZZ. So this is something I've never shared with the public, never put out there. This is the bet. J.K. Rowling is another one that actually uses this. So I'm turning y'all on to some stuff that, that's been with mainly just the high profile folks that know about it. So PZZZ, and it's only, if you want to subscribe to it monthly, they brought it down. It's affordable now. It's like $7.99 a month if you want to subscribe to it, or I think it's like $49 for the year or something like that. But I know the monthly one is $7.99 if you need that help. But if you're ever in an emergency situation, so some people get yourself to bed, or if you're someone that has trouble falling asleep, this isn't something I want you to do all the time, but there is help. and I have to have immediate help when I'm working with athletes and they need to get to sleep. And so there is a melatonin lavender spray. It's mixed with lavender and melatonin. It's a natural, it's an actual like food-like product. Literally 6 sprays, less than 5 minutes tops, you out of there. Like you knocked out. So if you ever in a bind and you really just need to get to sleep, I'm telling you, it's made by Onnit. It's a black box, looks just like this. So they make a mint one or a lavender. Lavender, I personally love, and I think it works. I don't work for them. I'm just telling you of a tool. If you're in an emergency situation, I definitely wouldn't want you to be using this all the time year round. But if you're ever having a struggle and you need to get to sleep, listen, that right there, oh, it's lights out for sure. And then I always want to tell you, you got to do something about the magnesium. Ease magnesium spray, you spray it in, it is the bomb. But something I didn't get to mention and go into when I was on the Breakfast with Champions during that segment, and even in the segment I just did in the Mom Link on Friday, is that I didn't get to address the temperature and the ashwagandha tea or the valerian tea. Teas can help you in the evening. So if you're not allergic to valerian, or if you're not allergic to ashwagandha tea, I highly recommend it. It's a natural way. And now you got to drop the temperature. I'm telling you, here's the thing. As you get older, and now this will motivate the guys who actually listen to this. So here's what you do if you allow your body to just naturally have your sleep interrupted. I'll get to the ladies in a second. But men can actually expedite reproductive issues by 10 years. You got to take my word for it. You can go to PubMed, you can go to the NIH, you can go through the case studies and to your heart's delight. I promise you this, because sleep is so important for your hormone. It lowers your testosterone levels. So you cannot allow your sleep to be disrupted. If you have a problem with sleep, if you're not getting high quality sleep, deal with it. And ladies, it's a problem for us, especially with perimenopause, menopausal, and postmenopause. If you don't sleep well, if your dream period is interrupted, it actually makes menopause and all of those things much worse. Not only that, it affects your hormone development, because sleep is that time that your body needs to do that. And so when cortisol is spiking at the wrong times, it messes up your reproductive areas, if you get what I'm saying and not saying, since the babies like to watch the episode. So please, please solve your sleep issues. Solve your sleep issues. And for those who have the munchies, because that's a sleep interruption. If you eat right before bed, it's a problem for your sleep and your sleep quality. Here's a quick solution that I do, especially for if I have like wrestlers or boxers who, have to be in a weight class and they really can't afford to be given into like temptations. So you can get, it's called cognac, not cognac the liquor. The cognac root. It's a Japanese thing. Okay, the easiest way for you to remember this, GM powder. You can get it in a powder form and you put it in some water. For me, with the guys that I know for a fact is more like repeat offenders that may show up and they're overweight and not going to make their competition weight class. So I have them use seltzer water with it. Just a little bit of it, put it in some seltzer water. Listen, you're talking about cravings killed, like done. Like you will not be hungry. You will not have the nighttime munchies. So it's called cognac, Kojnac. So I'm giving you a little inside trade secret so that you can stop getting up in the middle of the night, stop feeling hungry right before. And again, you can do your own research. I personally had to stop using it because my body just didn't like it. And it was making me look like I had a 9-month-old baby like inside, but I was able to use it long enough to break myself of the habit. So usually if you use it for about 6 days, it'll kill that and it'll reset your system to where you're not, them hungry hippos are not, wreaking havoc. One last bonus I want to give y'all. Y'all want to hear that little bonus tip? There's a hot toddy. I call it a sleep toddy that you can make. Let's say, for instance, if you get poor sleep quality, you have a bad mattress, you got things going on that's just beyond your control, or you got a little G-babe that's hogging the bed and doing all these things. this sleep toddy can ensure that, at least from a hormonal standpoint, that you can get the most out of your sleep. So here's the recipe. You can DM me or text me, those of you who have my information, and I can, send that to you with no problem. But here it is. It's 1 cup of hot water, 1 cup of hot water, 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Bragg's works the best. I've tried it, different brands. Bragg's, hands down, is just miles above the others. But you can use any of them to your heart's delight. It's just not as effective. And 1 tablespoon of honey. Don't know why scientifically it works. Got this from a doctor myself. And there's a lot of celebrities that use it as well. It absolutely works. Like you notice a difference the next day. So it's just 1 cup of hot water. You mix in 1. I do a little cap for. I just put a cap because sometimes I just don't. I'm being lazy. I don't feel like getting a measuring spoon. So 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, 1 tablespoon of raw. I use the raw honey. Not that the other forms of honey doesn't work, but I try to do as much organic and natural products as possible. But you don't have to. But that is the sleep toddy. I promise you that right there sets your sleep on fire. So, are there any questions or anything like that? That was my 100 health tip. Any questions? Nope. All right, Jules, how can the people follow you or connect with you online?
Julie Alpern on Facebook. On IG, it's at Jules Inc. JULESINC 13. Jules at Jules Inc. 13. I'm on Clubhouse at Jules Alpern. I'm all over the place.
I love it. Trellis, over to you. How can people connect with you online?
I am on Facebook, Trellis Thomas. I am on Clubhouse with my Jules there and you. Trellis and Quinette at gmail.com or Queens, Crowns, and Conversations at gmail.com, which is my podcast and the club house room that I hold every Thursday. So, and yes, my phone number is in my bio on Clubhouse if you're in Clubhouse, but 813-347-1755, which is perfection, grace, the last ending numbers.
Oh, I love that. Trey, over to you. How can the people connect with you?
I would love for you to go to my website or IG, Trey Urban Official. My website is returntoselfyourselfsanctuary.com.
I love that. And again, their links are also on my site, abundanthealthservice.com, and it'll also be in this show's episode, how you can reach them. And over to you, Mr. Shawn. How can they connect with you?
On most social media, at DIBK, that's short for Dripping in Black, 20, DIBK 20. If you get that, just go to drippinginblack.com. You can hit everything from there.
Mama, you're muted.
And I'm Abundant Health Services. I am Shawnte Wells. I've been your host. Thank you guys for making my dream come true and letting us live out the dream of Dr. King. I want to thank every single one of the panelists for sharing time and space and pouring into young people specifically as well with this panel. So, Dale, did you have a question that you wanted to ask?
No, I wanted to tell people where they can find me. They can find me at, Clubhouse, Instagram, and on Facebook and on Twitter as well. So that's all the platforms that you can find me in.
Thank you so much, Dale, for supporting and tuning in today. Thank you, guys. I hope that you will continue to keep it 100 in your health and keep the dream alive. The I Have a Dream anniversary is officially August the 28th, and I invite you to check out in Clubhouse. I will be doing a special room in the gratitude room. It's going to be all about the dreams. And so if you have any young people in your life, I want you to come in and share some gratitude with us, and them to just be able to share 3 things or 3 dreams they're grateful for. So this is going to be a family inspired, all about the dream on the actual anniversary of it. That's August the 28th in the evening. I will have it on my website, the link and how you can join in on that. But I hope you and your families will continue to keep the dream alive and reimagine dreams for your lives. And this is the 1Hunnid Health Show. Peace. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Peace.